Okay, so today is one of those game changer days. Today is the day where you go, what? Are you serious? We could have been doing that all along. And before I even tell you what we're doing, the reason why we have been doing inspection and decomposition is because of the neurological pathways that have to be created to do those are very, very important. Okay? It's just like, when you had to learn your times tables. You're like, what? Like, I'm going to have a calculator later. I don't need these. No, learning your times tables actually does create neurological pathways that help you with other math, okay, that help develop you so you can do higher level math and just higher level thinking. So, what am I talking about here? Okay, I'm just going to, I want you just to kind of watch B and just kind of coach me through it, okay? Now we're looking for what do things add to give me what? -1 and multiply to give me -12, right? You don't have to write this down. Just watch. Okay, you tell me what to do. What are my numbers? Oh, not -12, -72, right? I just did. That's how I got -72. No. -72, right? Okay, what? No. -9 and 8. Okay, and then I would go 6x squared minus 9x plus 8x minus 12, right? Then I'd put brackets here, and I will take out come on you guys, what do I take out? 3x. Leave me with 2x minus 3. Here I will take out leave me with 2x minus 3. So I have 2x, now this always equals 0. So I have 2x. That's why we don't eat in class, right? Right away. So that's 2x minus 3 and 3x plus 4 equals 0. So what does x equal? 3 over 2 and -4 over 3. Okay? You guys remember doing these? Some of you guys even sound a little rough doing it right now. Now that is what we call decomposition or inspection. Okay? Why do we call it inspection? Well, you have to think about what two numbers add to -1 and multiply to give me -72. What are those two? Then we got to split them up. Then we got to do factoring, and then we got to put zeros, right? Okay. So now I just kind of want you to watch this part. Okay. So if I go -1, -1, plus or minus -1 squared minus 4 times 6 times -12. And if I divide that by 2 times 6, this gives me 1 plus. If I just figure out, or plus or minus, if I just figure out all the work underneath, I get the answer 289. And that's all over 12. Okay? Now, if I take the square root of 289, it's actually 17. So this is the same thing as 1 plus or minus 17 all over 12. Now, what's 1 plus 17? 18. What's 18 over 12? It's 3 over 2. What's 1 minus 17? -16 over 12. -16 over 12. Okay? You may notice something similar about the answers. Now, This is called, what I use to solve this is the quadratic formula. Okay? Now the quadratic formula looks like this daunting, complicated formula, but it's just substitution of three numbers from the equation. The number that is with the x squared is always called a. The number that is with the x, and that includes the sign in front of it, behind it, whatever, beside it, is always b. And the constant is always c. Okay? So we need to know not just how to use the quadratic formula, but what the quadratic formula is. So the best way to remember a formula is annoying song with a cartoon. Right? Wrong one. Go back there. Okay, so you need to watch this. Did you? You watched the quadratic formula last year?
Saw a man on the street with a parabola in his hand. He said, "Sir, please help me. I don't understand, and I've been having trouble. This problem's all my fears." So I took out my notebook and I wiped away his tears with the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula. Quadratic formula. The quadratic formula. And it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, over 2a, over 2a. Although I couldn't factor it, I attacked the equation fast. Did I plug in the coefficients? Yep, you bet sure asked me if I could explain it. This problem's down the drain. That's exactly when he stuck a knife into my brain. I exclaimed, "Why did you do this? Do you even care? Didn't I just help you? Didn't I complete your square?" No, actually, I used the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula. Quadratic formula. Quadratic formula. And it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, over 2a, over 2a. Now my life is over, seen all that I can see. Quadratics, cubics, quintics, quartics got the best of me. But as I lay here dying, a strange peace settles over me, knowing that upon my tombstone carved for all the world to see will be the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula. Quadratic formula. Quadratic formula. And it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, over 2a, over 2a. One more time. Quadratic formula. Quadratic formula. Let's bring it way down. quadratic formula. The quadratic formula. And it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, over 2a, over 2a, over 2a.
Okay. Did I hear someone say they would sing it if I played it again? Mm-hmm. Okay, so, yeah, I was recording the whole time, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, so, we're going to do just 3 questions, and then I'm going to give you lots of time to work and finish your homework in class, because if you're practicing them and getting them done in class, then obviously you're going to be more successful at these. So let's do B, C, and then example 3, okay? And C we're not even going to do through the whole thing because you won't have to. Now, again, before I get going, I know I'm using the quadratic formula, and here it is for your eyes to see. Now, be very, very, very careful here. This is all over 2a. And that's why in the song it does stress that all over 2a. So this is actually in brackets divided by 2a. If you put it into your calculator in that order, you know, negative 5 plus root 6 minus whatever, minus, or divided by 2a, it'll just take the second one and divide it by 2a. It'll just take the root b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. You need both of them, so always put them in brackets if you're going to find the decimal. Okay, so with that, I know I need to know A and B and C. So this is what I always do. I actually never write down A equals B equals C equals. I just do this. Okay, that's A, that's B, and that's C. Okay? So now I always know. Now remember, always take the sign with it. They're buddies. Okay, so let's do this. X equals negative B, that is negative 12, right? Plus or minus the square root of B squared is negative 12 squared minus 4, and A is 4, and C is 3. All over 2 times 4. Yep. Yep. But when you multiply 2 times 3, like if you're doing 2 times 3 times 4, you don't do that. It's just 2 times 3, which is 6. 6 times 4, which is 24. So, yes, it applies to it, but I think you're thinking, should I multiply both those? And you don't. Okay? Now, everybody paying attention here? And the trick to these is solve in 3 different areas, then go to the next level. So what I'm trying to say is, there's 3 answers that I should solve first and write those down in the next one. So what I do is x equals 12 plus or minus, what is under that square root sign? What is the answer underneath the radical sign? That's my third thing that I solve. What do we get? 96. All over 8. So do it just like this. Now, remember what I said today. Decimals are not exact. Those are approximate. If you don't do it this way, you're going to get a decimal. Like, I guarantee it. Now, this is the right answer. We're done. The only bad thing is it's not really the right answer because I need to simplify. What does that mean? I got to get everything out of the radical sign just like I had to in the radicals unit. And then I have to divide everybody out if I can. Okay? So B Doesn't matter how, like, look at the question B. Doesn't matter how hard you give it to me. It doesn't make these any more difficult. Okay? Look, I mean, all you have to do is put those in. Now, root 96. Is there a perfect square in 96? 16. 16 times 6. So 96 is the same thing as 16 times 6, right? What does 16 come out to be? 4 root 6, okay? So let's just write that. X equals 12 plus or minus 4 root 6 all over 8. Now, I haven't done anything new. I did the radicals unit. We've done these before. Now, it could be good or bad that we're reviewing radicals. It could be bad if you do not know your radicals. It's good if, hey, that's kind of nice. We're doing a review of that unit again. We're bringing it back so I can remember it all again, so I don't have to study so hard at the final exam. We've been doing radical stuff. Now, you look at all three of these things. If a number can divide into them, reduce. Is there a number that divides into 4, 12, and 8? 4. So if we divide everybody by 4, it is 3 plus or minus root 6 all over 2. Now that is the exact answer. Now, what does this mean? It means the exact answers are 3 plus root 2 all over, root 6 I should say, root 6 all over 2, and 3 minus root 6 all over 2. Those would be your x-intercepts. That's where your parabola is going through the x. Now, this you couldn't even do using inspection or decomposition. Until now, you've been isolated from 99.9% of the questions out there. The fact that it's like, okay, what two things add to -1, multiply to -72, they're nice numbers because they're teaching a different concept. Now we're like, okay, let's actually find the real roots of any equation you could throw at me. Okay? Now, hey, you could always do it by graphing, but that only gave you approximate answers. It would never give you 3 plus root 6 and 3 minus root 6. Now, just to test this, can everybody put both of these in your calculator and then write the decimals down to the nearest tenth and see if you get it right? In the last class, the first two people I picked on could not. They didn't have the right answers. One person was totally off. The other person rounded incorrectly on the other one. So it may be a gimme, right? You say, well, I mean, I can find the decimal from here. That's no problem. Well, it is a problem. Okay? Ian, you're not doing this one? Or you got it already? Oh. Tenth on this one. It says in the instructions. Okay, so I will just randomly pick you. Just like a little fun lottery. Okay. Stephen, which one you got? Okay. So this would be 2.7. Okay, just so you guys know, Carly got it. Okay, I don't know if you guys over there heard that, so Carly got that one. And who didn't? Heidi didn't? Ouch. Sarah didn't either? I forgot I was recording. Now the whole world will know. Sarah and Heidi. That was Heidi Cougar and Sarah Pierce in 2013. Okay, the other one? .3. Carly Vogt, did you get that one? Yeah. Carly Vogt got that one. 2013, Sarah redeemed herself and got that one. Heidi still cannot get them. Okay. Make sure that you are putting this in brackets or you will always get it wrong. So can you do me a favor on the exam? If you forget brackets, can you just write a little arrow and say, Ms. Trimble marked this one wrong because I didn't put the brackets, okay? Help me out when I'm marking. Make my life easier. Okay? It's bracket 3 plus root 6. Shut your bracket. Now, you might need a double bracket, right? Because the root opens 1. And then divide by 2. Okay. Now, we're not going to go through the entire C. We're just going to get it so it's A. Now, right now, it's not set up with ABC. So I'm just going to, I got to distribute the 3. That's going to be 12x plus 15, right? And then I could take the 4x on the other side, or I could bring it all to the left. It doesn't matter as long as I have this thing equaling 0. So I'm going to go 4x squared minus 12x minus 15 equals 0. Because if you don't have it equaling 0, you can't do these. And then I would do this, A, B, and that's C. Remember, A is always the term in front of the x squared, B is always the term in front of the x, and C is always the constant. Now you shouldn't screw that one up because C, constant, they start the same. Okay? A comes before B in the alphabet, right? And we always have it x squared, x constant, so it shouldn't be too much of a stretch. Okay, let's just do one more. Okay, so in the question, okay, Carly, get your numbers. Now, I guess the important thing is, hey, keep it straight. Now, I'm just going to write the formula here so it makes sense. B squared minus 4AC over 2A. Hey. Now, get stuff in there. X equals negative 4 plus, or now y, it says positive 4. No, but it's negative B. So it'll always make it opposite. Plus or minus square root. B squared, that's 4 squared minus 4 times A is negative 3 times C is 1. Now, will I get a negative number under that radical sign? Sometimes I will, and you're going to learn about that tomorrow, but I don't want to give away all the fun. And then 2A again is negative 3. So remember, solve this, get the 3 chunks done. Now the first one, negative B, did that one already, plus or minus. Now remember, you want to get the number under the radical sign by yourself first because you're going to have to simplify it most likely. What number do we get under the radical sign? 28. Now again, that's all over negative 6. So it is just merely an organizational game up to here. Can you put everything in the right spot? Do the math, okay? Now, 28, is there a a perfect square in 28? 4 times 7, right? So 28 is the same thing as 2 root 7, okay? So if we come up here, I'm just continuing, x equals negative 4 plus or minus 2 root 7 all over negative 6. Okay, now I'm not missing any steps here because I don't want to lose anybody. So I have these 3 things to look at. Is there something that goes into all 3 of them? If there isn't, stop here. Is there? 2. So I will divide everybody by, now I'm actually going to divide by negative 2 because I don't like a negative on the bottom. So that would be x equals 2. Now, see how the plus and minus will be just minus plus if you divide it by it? So it's not really going to change things on that number. So it's just 2 plus root 7 over 3 and 2 minus root 7 over 3. Okay? So to the nearest hundredth, now that we've already practiced one, I'm going to pick two people. I'm going to give you 23 seconds, and I'm going to ask you the two numbers. Okay. Got a question? What's the question? Well, the plus will turn into a minus, the minus will turn into a plus, right? So there's a 1 there, but... No, because it's a plus and minus, which turns into minus and plus. You'll never get rid of that minus, because the minus divided by minus is a positive, but the positive divided by a negative is a negative, so... Okay, Heidi, you know I have to ask you. What's one of them? To the nearest hundredth. Okay. No, I'll come back to you. Just find it out. Okay, Sarah, what's the other one? .22. Heidi, what's the other one? Huh? 1.55. Now, remember what this, what is this saying? This is saying that, first of all, it's a positive. No, it's a negative, isn't it? So it's going down, and it's going through negative 0.22, which would be about there, and 1.55 would be about there. So it's something like this, okay? So we don't know the vertex from this formula, but we do know the x-intercepts, which are the same thing you've been doing for the last 4 years. And does the quadratic formula work for everyone? Yes. It's just, it's more of like a little magic thing that people like. And I could go through how this formula came to be, but most of you won't care, and then the other few will fall asleep. Yes? Because it is a negative a. That is the a, the same a that we had in the formula. Okay, that was a good question, because obviously the two other ladies here didn't get it either, so that's good. Okay, so we're working on 1 to 6. I specifically gave you very few questions because I want you to finish in class. I want you to have, help if you need it. I do want you to, for 1, 2, and 3, I do want you to do it by inspection. You know what I mean? What do things add to be negative 3, multiply to give me negative 10. I do want you to do them both ways, just for 1, 2, and 3. But look, that's over half your homework or assignment right there. So hopefully you're good at inspection. So you still have to know it. You still have to know how to do decomposition. In fact, this would be a good quiz question, right? Show me using decomposition. Show me using quadratic formula. It's a good, maybe it's a good test question. And what's cool about it is that you get to actually get marks for your checking, because maybe you're going to do it both ways. And then you could even do a third way. You could draw yourself a graph. So there's 3 ways to do this question: graphing, quadratic formula, or inspection or decomposition. Yep. Question? Nope. Okay, so the plan is that everybody gets their homework done today and we get our tests back.